Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If you're here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends or family. It really helps my channel a lot. Please tell me in which city or country you watched this video. I value every one of your comments. So, let's get started. There was a time when my presence brought a spark to her eyes, when coming home felt like stepping into warmth. Now, I'm little more than a disruption. Just a background noise interrupting her nightly ritual of endless scrolling and constant complaints about how drained she feels. It didn't happen overnight. The change crept in quietly, the kind of slow drift that pulls two people apart without either noticing right away. At first, it was occasional. Then it started happening more often. Before I knew it, weeks became months, and every time I reached for her, I was met with the same cold refrain. I'm not in the mood. Worse than the words was the way she said them, like I was out of line for even wanting that closeness. As if needing intimacy from the woman I married made me some kind of burden. But what hurt even more was realizing she did have energy, just never for me. Fridays, she's practically glowing as she gets ready for her night out with the girls. Her sister calls for a Saturday shopping spree. She's dressed and waiting like it's Christmas morning. That early morning yoga class. She's up before dawn, cheerful and energized, bounding out the door with a smile. I tried to be understanding. I told myself maybe her job was draining her. Maybe she just needed space to decompress. So I stepped up, took on more chores, cooked dinner more often, made sure the house felt calm and welcoming when she walked in. But instead of appreciation, I got withdrawal. The more I picked up, the more she let slide. She got used to the comfort and started giving up effort altogether. The breaking point came on a Wednesday. I'd just finished back-to-back 10-hour shifts. I came home to clutter, an empty kitchen, and there she was, curled on the couch in her pajamas, eyes locked on some ridiculous reality show where people throw drinks and scream at each other. I asked if we could spend some time together, like couples are supposed to. Her response? She didn't even glance my way. "I'm just never in the mood anymore," she said. Then came the real blow. Maybe that's just who I am now. She said it like she was reading the weather. No emotion, no care for how those words might land. Like it meant nothing that she was checking out of the one thing that should still mean everything. I stood there, watching her eyes glued to the screen. And it hit me. This wasn't burnout. This wasn't stress. This was something deeper. It was a matter of respect, or rather, the absence of it. She had become so comfortable with everything I provided, the roof, the stability, the emotional labor, that she forgot a marriage requires both of us to show up. She assumed my devotion meant she could stop trying, that she could take endlessly and never give anything back. That night, lying beside someone who felt more like a housemate than a partner, a hard truth settled in. I'd spent all this time trying to be the best husband I could be, and never once asked her to be a wife. I had been holding up the entire structure of our marriage while she enjoyed its comforts, without contributing to its foundation. But if she no longer wants to be a teammate in this, maybe it's time she experiences life without one. Marriage isn't a solo effort. It's a shared road, and I'm done walking it alone. She seems to think she can just shrug and say, "That's not who I am anymore." And I'll quietly accept it, that I'll stick around while she fades further away, offering nothing but taking everything. That's not how this works. That's not how anything works. Starting tomorrow, things will be different. If she's disengaging, she'll learn I can pull back too. But when I withdraw, the silence carries weight. The next morning, I broke the pattern. No coffee waiting for her. No checking in before I left for work. She wandered into the kitchen in her robe, blinking like something was missing. "Where's the coffee?" she asked, clearly thrown off. "Same place it's always been," I said, eyes still on my phone. "In the cabinet." She stood there a moment, then gave this annoyed little exhale, like I'd broken some sacred agreement. But guess what? She made her own coffee. Turns out, she's plenty capable when she has to be. That evening, I came home to the same scene, her on the couch, watching yet another show, still in the same pajamas, the sink full of dirty dishes from days ago. I didn't speak right away, just grabbed a beer and took a seat across from her. "We need to talk," I said. She groaned, hit mute with exaggerated annoyance. "About what now?" "About what you said yesterday, about not being in the mood anymore." She rolled her eyes hard enough to shake the ceiling. "Oh my God, are we seriously doing this again?" "I've said it before. This is the person I've become. People change. You're absolutely right, they do. Then let me ask you this. When was the last time you were too tired to go out with your girlfriends? When did you say no to a day of shopping because you weren't feeling up to it? When have you bailed on plans just because you didn't feel like showing up?" She shifted uncomfortably in her chair, clearly uneasy. "That's not a fair comparison." "Why not? Help me see what I'm missing." "Because those things help me stay balanced. They give me a break, a way to recharge and feel like myself." "And what about your marriage? Your husband? Don't those parts of your life give you something meaningful too?" The silence that settled between us was thick and heavy. The fact that she had to think about it said more than any words could have. "Look," she finally said, "marriage isn't about butterflies and fireworks anymore. That part is over. So what are we in now? Just two people splitting rent? Two people taking but never giving anything back. You're blowing this way out of proportion." "Am I?" "Let's walk through your typical week, just so we're clear. Monday to Friday. You come home exhausted from work. I get that. But Friday night, suddenly, you're full of life, out dancing and drinking past midnight. Saturday rolls around, and you're up early for yoga, followed by a shopping spree with your sister, and then dinner out with your friends. Sunday? You spend the whole day doing whatever helps you feel good and prepped for the week. And throughout all that time, with all that energy and enthusiasm, not once do you pause and think, maybe I should pour a little of this into my marriage." She opened her mouth to speak, but I held up my hand. I wasn't finished. "You've got time and energy for everyone and everything, except me. You light up for every occasion, except the ones that involve us. You prioritize everything under the sun, except being my partner. So tell me, what am I supposed to be getting out of this relationship?" Her face was turning red now. "I shouldn't have to fake being in the mood," she said. "That wouldn't be fair to either of us." "You're right. You shouldn't have to pretend. But here's what you're overlooking. You never have to force yourself to enjoy nights out with your friends, right? You don't need to convince yourself to go shopping. That kind of happiness comes naturally, because you choose to invest in it. You make mental and emotional space for those things." I leaned in closer. "When was the last time you did the same for me? For us? When's the last time you didn't just shut down, but actually made the effort? Made an effort to connect, to be present, to want to be around me?" "Marriage isn't supposed to feel like a job," she said, though she didn't sound quite as sure of herself anymore. "Nothing that matters comes without some kind of work. Your career takes dedication. Your health and fitness require effort. You invest in your friendships. And yet, somehow, you've convinced yourself that marriage should just run on autopilot, while everything else in your life gets your full attention." She stayed quiet, eyes fixed on the TV, though it was obvious she wasn't really watching. "You want to talk about what's unfair? Fine, here it is. It's unfair that I'm expected to be okay with being your last priority, while still fulfilling all the expectations that come with being your husband. Stability, financial support, emotional presence, partnership. You want everything a marriage provides, but you're not willing to put in what a marriage needs. That's not true. Then what is it? Because from my perspective, it looks like you've decided the role of a wife is optional, but being a husband is mandatory." She finally turned to look at me. There was a shift in her expression, not full understanding, but maybe the first flicker of it. "What do you want from me?" she asked quietly. "I want you to make a decision. Because right now, you're acting like a single woman who just happens to cohabitate with her financial backup plan. That's not a relationship. That's a hustle." She didn't respond that night, just turned the volume up and pretended none of it had happened. But over the next few days, I saw it in her eyes. She kept watching me, unsure if I was being completely serious or just riding out some emotional wave. Her answer came the weekend after. I was organizing the cluttered workbench in the garage when she stepped into the doorway, arms crossed and wearing that all-too-familiar expression, the one that usually came before she said something heavy and uncomfortable. "I've been thinking about what you said," she began, her voice calm and deliberate. "I think we need to accept that marriage evolves. We're not in our 20s anymore. Things have shifted. There's stress, obligations, real adult stuff. Passion and impulsiveness don't always take the lead." I set the wrench down slowly and turned to meet her eyes. "So, your conclusion is that I should just get used to having less?" "I'm saying we have to be pragmatic," she replied. "This is how long-term relationships work. It's common." "This?" I asked, disbelief creeping into my voice. "We're calling this normal now? One person tuning out emotionally is maturity?" "I haven't tuned out," she shot back, clearly offended. "I'm still here, aren't I? I still handle things around the house. When's the last time you cleaned a bathroom? Cooked something that wasn't just for yourself? Did a load of laundry that included my clothes?" Her mouth opened as if to reply, but no sound came. She closed it again, realizing the truth needed no confirmation. "You're here physically," I said quietly. "But mentally? Emotionally? You've been gone for months, and I'm supposed to just accept that, because that's what grown-up love looks like now." "Lots of couples go through this," she insisted. "It's common for the physical side to slow down." "Slow down, yes. But completely disappear, while all your energy goes elsewhere? That's not aging, it's abandonment." Her face flushed. "I'm not neglecting you. I'm just being honest about where I'm at in life." "Then let's be honest. What are you actually contributing to this marriage at this point? Not just being in the house, but really showing up?" "I don't need to justify myself to you," she replied tightly. "No, you don't," I agreed. "And I don't have to keep giving everything to someone who treats being a partner like a burden." That hit hard. Her eyes narrowed. "What are you implying?" "I'm saying you can't expect to put in the bare minimum and still have me act like everything's fine. If this is just a roommate situation now, let's stop pretending it's something more. Roommates split expenses. They don't owe each other emotional connection." "This is absurd," she said sharply. "Really?" I asked. "You put intimacy away indefinitely. You've stopped participating in the life of the house. You rarely carve out time for us. You've given up everything that defines a relationship, except for the parts that benefit you. So tell me, what's left? What makes this a marriage and not a costly cohabitation?" She gave me that look again, the one where the truth cuts, but pride won't let her admit it. "Marriage isn't just about physical closeness," she said, more softly now. "You're absolutely right," I said. "It's about being teammates. It's about sharing burdens, being there for each other emotionally, building something together, caring about how the other person feels. So tell me, how are we doing on those?" "Nothing." She said nothing. "I think I understand what happened," I continued, leaning back against the bench. "You got comfortable. You assumed I'd always be here taking whatever scraps of affection you decided to offer, because I'm your husband. And husbands are supposed to be loyal, patient, dependable, while their wives slowly drift away. That's not fair. But here's what you never considered. If you're not willing to be my wife in any real way, why should I keep pretending to be your husband?" Her expression turned pale, stunned. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying it's time for you to decide what you really want from this marriage. Because at the moment, you're reaping all the rewards: security, routine, a safety net, without putting in the effort. That won't work forever." "Are you threatening to leave me?" she asked, voice wavering. "This isn't a threat. It's the truth. A marriage only works when both people are engaged. And right now, it feels like I'm the only one left who still cares." She didn't answer immediately. Her expression shifted, not angry now, but contemplative, like she was beginning to picture a version of life where she had to do everything alone. "I need time to think," she finally said. "Take as long as you need," I told her. "But understand this. What we have won't last on autopilot. I'm done pretending to be a husband to someone who treats being a wife like it's an obligation she'd rather not fulfill. You need to figure out what you actually want, because I've already made up my mind. I want a teammate, not someone treating me like their personal support system." Her so-called need for space to think barely lasted a few days. Not because she reached some life-altering insight, but because I decided to show her what it really means to live as just roommates. By Monday morning, she came downstairs to an empty coffee pot. That night, I cooked dinner. For one. When she looked confused and asked where her plate was, I nodded toward the kitchen. "There's food in the pan. Plates are in the cabinet." "You're joking, right?" "Not at all. Roommates don't just make each other dinner unless they've agreed to it in advance." Tuesday came, and she walked into the laundry room only to see me filling the washer with just my own clothes. Her hamper hadn't been touched. "You're not doing my laundry too?" "Why would I? You're a grown adult. You handled your clothes before we were married. What's changed now?" "This is absurd." "No, this is what equality looks like. You wanted your independence. Here it is." By Wednesday, the truth had started to sink in. She stood silently in front of the coffee maker that hadn't been touched since Sunday, glanced at the mountain of dishes she'd ignored, and frowned at the grocery list she assumed I'd take care of. Like always. "How long are you planning to keep this up?" she asked. "What do you mean?" "This whole thing. The way you're treating me." "I'm treating you exactly how you said you wanted, like someone who doesn't need me." "This isn't what I meant." "Isn't it? Because for months, you've been acting like you want the perks of single life without giving up the security of a marriage. I'm simply adjusting to that reality." By Thursday evening, the weight of responsibility was catching up with her. She was surrounded by unopened envelopes and printed statements at the kitchen table, clearly overwhelmed by a world I'd always managed quietly behind the scenes. "I don't understand this electric bill," she said. "Why is it so high?" "I wouldn't know. It's no longer my sole responsibility." "What do you mean it's not yours?" "If we're just two people sharing a home, we split the costs. That's your half of the utilities." She went pale. "My half? But I don't earn as much as you." "Not really my problem. Roommates split expenses by agreement, not based on income. You wanted to stand on your own. Well, standing on your own means carrying your share." "And the mortgage? The car payments? Insurance?" "What about them?" "They're huge. And now they're yours too. You live here. You drive the car. You benefit from the insurance. Time to pay your portion." She stared at the documents like they were in another language. For the first time, she was beginning to grasp the true cost of the life she'd been coasting through. "I can't afford half of this," she said quietly. "Then you've got two choices. Figure out how to make it work, or find a more affordable lifestyle." "You're not being serious." "I'm being completely serious. You've spent months saying that being a wife is too much work. You shut me out physically and emotionally. You turned our marriage into little more than a shared lease. Fine. But roommates pay their share, and you're going to start." Friday came, and she didn't go out like usual. She sat at the kitchen table instead, calculator in hand, trying to stretch her income to meet reality. Saturday didn't bring yoga or a shopping spree. She was at the supermarket with a tight budget, calculator in hand, working out how to afford the basics, something she'd never had to consider before. By Sunday night, she found me in the living room, reading. "Can we talk?" she asked. "Sure," I said. "What's on your mind?" "This arrangement. It isn't working." "What part of it?" "This setup. I can't afford this life by myself." "I know." "You know?" "Of course. Did you really think I didn't see that the only reason your lifestyle was sustainable was because I was making it possible?" She sat down across from me, and for the first time in what felt like forever, really looked at me. There was a flicker in her eyes that had been missing for a long time, recognition. I never saw it like that before. And that's been the issue all along. You never saw it at all. You never really noticed what went on in the background. The stability of having a home, the bills that never went unpaid, the freedom to spend without worrying. It all rested on an unspoken belief that I would handle the essentials. At first, I didn't recognize it either. Maybe you didn't want me to. It was easier for both of us if you just assumed I'd always be the one keeping things afloat. I was the constant, the provider, the planner, the one ensuring everything kept running smoothly while you directed your attention elsewhere. But now, it's your turn. You can go on pretending that marriage is nothing more than sharing space and splitting costs, or you can finally admit the truth. You've been living off someone who loved you enough to carry the weight silently. I didn't commit to being a live-in assistant, so stop treating me like one. Show up like a real partner. But what if I'm just exhausted? What if I'm not in the right mental space for all of this? Then say something. Put in the effort. Make this relationship matter as much as the things you say you care about. Stop approaching intimacy like it's another item on your to-do list. Start recognizing it as what it truly is, a bond with the person you vowed to build a life with. She didn't reply right away. I think I forgot how, she eventually whispered. Then you learn again. Because the alternative? Doing everything by yourself, paying the rent alone, fixing problems solo, staring down the silence, and realizing that single life isn't the fantasy you painted it to be. The days that followed were revealing. She did try. I'll acknowledge that. Tuesday, she brought me coffee. Wednesday, she cooked dinner. Thursday, she washed our clothes, including mine. But it all felt rehearsed, like she was ticking boxes off some guidebook titled Steps to Save a Dying Relationship. The gestures were there, but the heart wasn't, and we both felt it. Friday night, she reached for connection. Indirectly, of course. She didn't say it outright. Instead, she hovered nearby while I was watching TV, tossing out small comments about the show, hoping I'd invite her to sit with me. I didn't bite. Saturday, she switched tactics. She came down dressed like she used to, back when she wanted to catch my eye. Hairstyled, makeup perfect, the whole production. Thought maybe we could do something today, she said casually, leaning against the counter like it was no big deal. Like what? I asked. Maybe lunch or a movie? Can't. I already made plans. What kind of plans? I'm seeing some friends. You know, the ones I stopped making time for because I was always here with someone who didn't seem to want me around. Her expression faltered. You could have invited me. I could have, but I assumed you wouldn't want to come. The resentment landed squarely. She flinched, just slightly. By Sunday night, the tension was impossible to ignore. She was at the kitchen table again, laptop open, scrolling through apartment listings. Find anything promising? I asked. Maybe. There's a one-bedroom about 15 minutes from here. Not perfect, but I can afford it. Sounds fair. Is that what you want? To move out? I don't know. Do you want me to leave? What I want is a real decision, not this lukewarm effort to maintain the status quo. That's not fair. That's not what I'm doing. Isn't it? You think making a few dinners and wearing a smile like it's a costume fixes everything? You think some eyeliner and a lunch invite erase the months you made me feel invisible? I am trying. No, you're acting. And there's a big difference. She slammed the laptop shut, the sound sharp in the quiet room. What do you want from me? I apologized. I'm doing what I can. What else do you want? I want the truth. From you and from yourself. I am telling the truth. No, you're reacting. You're scrambling now that you realize what life might be like without someone protecting you from all the hard parts. I want this to work. Do you? Or do you just miss the ease of having me handle everything while you lived on your own terms? She didn't answer immediately. I could see it in her eyes. She was weighing her response, looking for the right line. She said the words she thought might shift everything. "I miss what we had," she said softly. "I miss us." "Really?" I said. "And when did that feeling start?" Because from where I stood, the past few months looked more like a mission to erase every trace of what we were. "I messed up," she admitted. "But people make mistakes. Can't we work through this?" "Work through what exactly?" I said. "This wasn't a slip or a bad week. You didn't just mess up once. You made conscious decisions over and over again. You made your priorities clear, and they weren't this marriage. You treated being close like an obligation, and me like a backup plan." "I can change," she said quickly. "Can you?" I asked. "Because real change isn't about feeling guilty after getting caught. It's about recognizing the harm you caused, not just being sorry because you're facing the consequences." "I do get it," she said. "Do you? Then tell me, what exactly do you understand?" Her lips parted, then closed. Opened again, searching for something that wasn't there. "I didn't value you like I should have," she finally said. "That's part of it," I said. "What else?" "I stopped putting effort into us," she admitted. "And I'm not sure what else you want me to say. I want honesty. I want clarity. Not rehearsed lines meant to keep me from leaving. Because right now, it sounds like you think this is just about chores or missed date nights." Silence filled the space between us. "Let me tell you how I see it," I said after a long pause. "I think what you really want is to turn back time. You miss the comfort, the ease, not the responsibility. But what you don't understand is that a marriage can't survive when only one person shows up. Intimacy isn't something you ration out like a prize. And respect isn't something you get to give only when it's convenient." "So, what does that mean?" she asked. "It means you have until the end of this week," I said. "Make a real decision. Either you're fully in or you leave. No more limbo. No more enjoying the benefits of being married while avoiding the actual work." "And if I choose to stay?" she asked. "Then prove it. Not with some dramatic gesture or a burst of temporary effort. Prove it through consistent action. Prove it by showing day after day that this marriage actually matters to you, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient." "And if I fail?" she asked quietly. "Then you'll learn exactly what it looks like when someone is truly done," I said. "And that will include everything: bills, rent, responsibilities. You'll be managing it all on your own." She looked at me for a long moment, and something shifted behind her eyes. She got it. This wasn't me begging. This was a boundary. "1 week," I told her. "Make your decision, because I've already made mine. I'm not settling anymore." Just like I expected, the week unfolded in patterns I knew too well. Monday and Tuesday, she was all in. Morning coffee, freshly cooked meals, actual interest in my day. Tuesday night, she even chose a movie for us to watch together. But it all had the feel of someone following a checklist titled, "How to Appear Like You Care." By Wednesday, the cracks started to show. She came home drained from work, and dinner felt more like a duty than a gesture. Thursday morning, no coffee. Just her scrolling on her phone, right back to the habits that had gutted our connection. Then came Friday. I walked into the kitchen and saw her sitting alone, eyes fixed on her coffee cup, expression hollow. "It's time," I said. She looked up, already knowing what was coming. "I did try," she said, almost in a whisper. "No," I said. "You acted. That's not the same." "What's the difference?" "Trying means you're motivated by real understanding. Acting means you're wearing a mask because reality makes you uncomfortable." Her fingers trembled as she set her cup down. "So what now?" she asked. "Now," I said. "You finally get what your choices have been pointing toward all along. No more obligations. No more pretending. No more carrying the emotional weight for both of us. No more marriage. I don't want a divorce, she said, wide-eyed. You haven't been in this marriage for a long time, I told her. All I'm doing is acknowledging the truth. Can't we go to therapy? Work on this? Work on what? I asked. You don't want a real partnership. You want the comfort of one without doing the work. That's not love. That's dependency. And that's when the tears started. Not the kind meant to manipulate, but the kind that come when something truly hits you. I don't want to be married, she said finally. I just forgot how. You didn't forget, I said. You knew. 6 months ago, a year ago. You knew. You just stopped choosing it. You didn't forget. You chose not to prioritize it. You made a decision that your energy was better spent elsewhere. People grow. They change. I assumed you knew that. I believed you were changing too. But you didn't grow. You just quit. There's a massive gap between evolving alongside someone and walking away from them. So that's it? You've decided to stop putting in the effort? I've already let go. I spent countless nights tearing myself apart, wondering if I was the one who ruined things. I overcompensated, thinking if I carried more, maybe you'd finally care enough to notice. I excused your bad days, your stress, your endless rationalizations. I bent over backwards trying to remind you what it looked like to stand beside me, not behind, not apart, together. I let the silence expand between us. It was louder that way. That's when I really saw it. You had stopped choosing us a long time ago. I just stopped lying to myself about it recently. And now here you are, asking, but what if I mean it this time? What if I really change? You had the chance to show me. You had a whole week. All you gave me was a performance. You acted like the partner you thought I wanted, but only because the threat of losing me felt real. That's not change. That's panic. She was crying now, unraveling before me. I felt nothing. No anger, no heartbreak, not even peace. Just that brutal, crystalline awareness that comes when you finally accept that someone made a choice, and they didn't choose you. I didn't realize how much you did, she whispered. Exactly. That was always the problem. You never had to notice because it all just got done, and you mistook that for ease. I'll do better, she said. You'll appreciate me, until the documents are signed and your new schedule settles in. Then you'll slide right back into your old rhythms. That's your pattern. That's who you've always been. That's not fair, she shot back. No. What wasn't fair was spending years building something with someone who treated it like a convenience. What wasn't fair was wrecking myself trying to hold up someone who couldn't even pretend to say thank you. What wasn't fair was loving someone who saw my needs as interruptions. I picked up my keys. The divorce papers are being filed Monday. You've got 30 days to figure out where you're going to live. Where are you going? She asked. Out. I have plans. With who? She asked. Does it matter? You never cared about my plans before. Will you come back tonight? Eventually. But don't wait up. You were never in the mood anyway. At the door, I stopped and looked back one last time. You know what's funny? You always acted like not being in the mood was some unsolvable mystery. Give it half a year living alone. I guarantee that mood will come flooding back. Right around the time reality hits you. Bills, pressure, and the responsibilities you never had to carry before. You're being cruel, she said. No, I'm being honest. You wanted to live like you were single? Well, now you get to find out what that really looks like when there's no safety net. And spoiler, it's not long brunches, yoga classes, and wine nights funded by someone else. I opened the door, then paused again. Let's see how exciting the single life feels when you're pulling back-to-back shifts to cover rent and microwaving cheap dinners at the end of exhausting days. Maybe then you'll understand what you gave up when you decided that being a wife was more effort than you felt like giving. As the door shut behind me, the only thing I heard was her sobbing. Not because she lost me. Not because she lost us. but because she finally grasped that the comfort she took for granted was gone. Some people never realize what they had until it's walking out the door. By then, it's too late. It's already over. This story has come to an end. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you like this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you